Welcome back, Homegrown Gearheads. Today I got Cavi in the garage, just doing some regular maintenance. Got tire rotate. I also had front tires that were going low about every 3 or 4 days, so I'm taking those into the tire shop tomorrow. Have them check, see what I got for leaks. Probably valve stems or seal or the beads or something like that. Simple. So hopefully just a breakdown, re-bead, maybe new valve stems or something, and I can get rears put back on tomorrow probably. But also I was checking into my headlight that I was having a low beam that was going out on me while driving on the road. So I tore into that a little bit. I previously replaced pigtails on probably about all these. You know, this is it's a 98, so it's a 24-year-old car now. So wiring's getting a little sketchy, you know, subframe's a little crusty in spots. It's getting on its last leg, but I've had it since I was in high school. I got it when I was 16. I've drove it back and forth to work. You know, I'm at 265,000 miles, I think now. It's been a great car though. The only major thing I've really had to do on it was water pump and timing chain, which isn't like nothing out of the ordinary for any car this age. So that wasn't too bad. You know, it's had CV axles, it's had wheel bearings, it's had brakes done, you know, a few times, which today while I had wheels off, I also checked to see what all I needed for brakes, because they are, you know, it's been probably 5 years since I've done brakes on this car, but it is a manual transmission. So I do downshift. I honestly don't use brakes very much. So usually they glaze up before they wear out on me. But it's time for new ones. So I'm gonna get stuff for brakes probably down the road. Exhaust seemed to get a little louder, so I checked into that to see if it's gonna fall apart on me or if it's okay for a little while, you know. Just little maintenance stuff that I gotta do. Probably about time for an oil change, so I'll probably get the brake parts, and then while I have it back in here doing brakes, I'll do an oil change at the same time. Kind of saves you to get everything all at once, do it all at once again, instead of getting it back in and out of the garage 3 or 4 times. But I'm gonna probably do a little bit of shooting, a little video on soldering. It's something I do a lot of. I'm also, we do RC cars for hobbies, so I've raced RC cars for 20 some years now. And, you know, you get into model grade RC cars, you learn how to solder. It's just something you have to do. All right, so I guess other than that, I'm probably gonna show you a little bit of soldering. We'll put the tires on it tomorrow, get this back down on the ground. You've probably noticed there is a giant dent here and a rum colored hood. This car has taken out, I believe, 9 deer in its lifetime now, and it's been totaled up twice through the insurance company, so it's definitely paid for itself. You know, my buyback from the insurance this last time, I believe, was like $115. So it was either buy back the car for $115 that needed a hood, mirrors, a windshield wiper, both headlights. And so I just ended up going to LEDs. I just bought eBay knockoff, you know, lenses. Hood was, I believe, 40 bucks from a junkyard. And mirrors were, I don't know, 20 bucks a piece or something off eBay. So 200 bucks into the car, get it back on the road. And it was either drive this or drive my truck. And at the time, I was driving very long distance. So $200 into this car paid for itself within a week, basically, in gas. So here it is, you know, it's still on the road, still going, and, you know, a little maintenance here and there, but, you know, I can't beat the gas mileage now in you know, cheap car, honestly. So, but we'll get back, we'll get some soldering done, and get this car back together.
All right, I was gonna go over the basics for what I use for soldering. My basic solder, it's a rosin core, so I don't use flux really. This flows pretty good. I do have some flux around for if I ever have really corroded, nasty stuff that I can't get to flow or something right. Strippers, there's multiple different kinds of whatever you prefer, I guess. Shrink wrap, lots of different sizes, depending on whatever we need. You know, make sure we get the right size so it shrinks down correctly, so that way it doesn't let moisture in there and get any more corrosion. My soldering station, one I've had forever. You know, I've used it at RC track forever, and adjustable temperature. It is nice when you get into really tiny soldering stuff, really small like sensor wires and stuff like that. You can turn the power down on it, so that way you're not burning up the wire and the insulation off the wire as fast. just a standard whatever spade tip. Also I had voltmeter out here from when I was trying to figure out where my problem was here. I wish I should have went over a little bit of voltmeter stuff while I was doing this to show how to use a multimeter. But I also have a vintage Honda motorcycle project that's going to be coming up that I want to get on the road, so that's going to be a little bit of an electrical nightmare. So I'm planning on covering some multimeter uses in that. We'll get into, probably chasing some bad grounds or finding power, resistance, and we'll get into ohms and continuity, all that type of stuff. So, but today we'll worry about soldering. We'll get the camera set up. We'll get this stripped back, get it twisted together, and get some solder on there, and I'll show you the process that I use. So.
All right, so on these wires that we're going to be twisting back together, it's pretty corroded. I also got a bad spot back here where I was doing some wire checking earlier and stuff. So I'm going to actually cut back to here. I'm going to cut probably up into here to get some of this corrosion out of this wire. And I think I'm actually going to cut this old patch out before and redo it actually too, because if this one's corroded in the orange one, I'm sure this other one's starting to get corroded inside of here too. This one I'd put a new pigtail on here probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago I think. Back last time I hit the deer and took out all the headlights and the hood, and ended up changing out pigtails that were all corroded when I went to the LED lights and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm going to cut these back, we'll strip it, and I'll show you what we do from there. Alright, so I got this cut off, got these two stripped back. So it's getting pretty short, but this orange one had some pretty nasty corrosion down into the wire. So got back to where there's clean wire, and got these ones cut back as well. So I'm gonna strip these. Did the rest of it off camera. It was gonna be kind of difficult to be able to let you see well. They're in here, I think. Even that wire is pretty nasty. It just all corroded and just broke off all the strands except for that one. So I'm gonna shorten it up a little more, I guess. Luckily, the LED lights on this have like a long pigtail on them, so where I've had to shorten up on the wires here, it's made up for on the pigtail side for the LED itself. So we've got our two wires stripped back. First rule to soldering wires together is don't forget to put your shrink wrap on your wires before you solder the wires together. Don't worry, you'll forget a lot. Even over the years, I still forget eventually, or occasionally. So, this orange one first. Basically what I do is I strip back a little ways for this situation. I'm going to twist them and do a twist and solder. So I strip them back a little ways, kind of crisscross them kind of towards the base a little bit, and then I do a twist. As you kind of like pull them back as you twist them, pull them away from each other. So you're trying to get the two wires to lay twisted around each other like that. I don't know if you can see real well, but so twist it together. Try to keep like the ends, the frays down, so that way after you solder it, you can still slide your shrink wrap over it and then shrink it on there. So, alright, so my soldering iron, before I use it every time, I wipe it on the sponge to get the tip nice and clean. You can see right there. Then also what I do is I come in and tin it. So what you do is you just take a touch of solder, put it on that tip. What it does is it makes the liquid solder actually helps with your thermal conductivity, and it allows the heat from your soldering iron to transfer into your wire easier, faster. So that way it doesn't take you so long to heat up your wire. And if you don't have to heat up your wire so much, you don't have to worry about burning back your shrink wrap as much. So you can get the soldering to flow faster in the place that you want it, and then get the heat out of there before it melts everything away. Alright, I got them both soldered. To be honest, neither one of them soldered really all that well, so We're gonna call it good though. To be honest, like I said, this car's old. It's what it is. So we're gonna pull our shrink wrap up over our solder spots, center it up like that. Make sure you use a long enough piece to get some good wrap around the two ends to make sure you can keep the moisture out. Also, the thing I forgot to mention is I use like these lighter clickers, whatever you want to call them, for shrinking mine. Keep the flame away from it. Stay back. You're just wanting the heat to do it. Make sure you rotate. Also, be careful, of flammable anything, paper, plastics, everything from open flame. Also, be careful with the soldering iron. Soldering irons are very hot. You can burn yourself very easy. Wires get hot when soldering, so be aware that if you're holding onto the wire still, it could get hot as you hold onto it longer, as well as other components. Obviously, probably a lot of it common sense, but I feel the need to mention it just in case. You can kind of see as I work my way around where it shrinks and where it doesn't. I try to go easy. If you get too close with the flame and heat it up too fast, it kind of singes the shrink wrap, and then it ends up getting brittle, I feel. So this way, if you stay back, keep the heat off of it, it stays flexible a little bit better, and then don't have problems. But so there you are. Hopefully no more moisture problems, and hopefully a headlight that works now. Now that I got it all soldered, I'm going to put the loom back over top of the wires. This is something I haven't really talked about, but it's on a lot of wiring. Got the split down the side to be able to push it in. I find the easiest way to put it on is to kind of like bend it over and push your wire up the crack, kind of. Loom, another one of those things that I keep on hand all the time. I never know when I'm going to add wiring to something or fix wiring or something, so it's nice to be able to just put it on there. Keeps wires kept together. You can put a tie on them, zip tie it, keep it out of the way, keep it nice, keep it out from getting destroyed or ripped off or anything like that. So, good thing to keep around.
There we go, got it fixed. Low beam, that's the one that was out. High beam, looks like we're all good. Well, I think that's about all for today. I got headlight fixed, got tires in the back of the truck to be able to get leaks fixed tomorrow. Front tires are on. Figured out that I do need to get some brakes, probably some stuff for oil change. And I think that's about all I had on this today. So probably do a little more filming tomorrow to show putting the tires back on, torquing those, and taking it off the stands. So see you tomorrow. Alright, tightening lug nuts. I'm not going to go over like a whole lot of details, but the basics. Use a star pattern. Start them all by hand before using the impact on them, so you don't mess with the threads. Like in this instance, it's a 5 lug, so star pattern works for 6 and 8. Just go back and forth across as you go around. Aluminum alloy wheels, retorque after I think it's recommended 50 miles. But something like that. I run them on with the impact to a certain point, basically. And then I come through with a breaker bar and torque them by hand. So in this instance, I'm just kind of re-snugging them after getting all of them on. And I run a locking lug nut, so I have this one that uses an adapter. So
You're not actually supposed to use impacts on those, but it gets it a little snug before I torque it, so it should be fine. Alright, we're going to torque them, same star pattern as putting them on. I'm just using 16-inch ratchet with extension. Look up torque specs if you need to know how tight they need to be. I've really just been doing this long enough that I kind of have the feel, I guess, of torque. Also, alloy wheels, I may have already mentioned, re-torque after 50 miles. They do have a tendency to kind of reseat themselves, I guess. So re-torque them so you don't have wheels coming off on you. And, basically it.